Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
I'm your host, Devin.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
We are real moms.
Sharing real experiences. The things people don't tell you.
Hey, Mama, hey.
Hey, Mama, hey.
How you doing, friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like my face is like all the way in the camera. But it is what it is. You will just have to get all of my face.
It's beautiful. So.
Thank you. You look gorgeous too with your hair out.
Glowing. You know, this happens like once a month. So.
Girl, you see, I'm still with the pullback.
Yeah, it's too much work. It's too much work.
If this is your first time listening, I am your host, Kendra.
And I'm your host, Devin. Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
Welcome. So, friend, what's going on? What are we talking about today?
So I'm excited about what we're talking about today because as a mom who had a child who did not sleep until the age of 4, I wish I had this resource. And so anytime somebody contact us about sleep training or whatever, I direct them to Michelle, okay, of Sleepyheads, because she's an expert of how to get your baby to sleep. She debunks all the myths and rumors and all of that, okay, because she even got me together one time. So it's just like, where were you in 2018? Okay, where were you?
Drew gave y'all hell. He did.
Yeah, he gave us hell. Okay. So for those moms who have children who have difficulty sleeping, your child can sleep. And Michelle's going to tell us all about it. We will also drop all of her information at the end of the episode, just in case you want to reach out to her. But she's a great resource. And I know we have some mamas that just had babies in our friend group. So I feel like this would be really helpful for them. And even though I'm bitter, sharing is caring. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I love that you don't gatekeep.
I don't gatekeep.
So, Michelle, we always ask our guests what their journey to mamahood was. So, if you don't mind, can you share what your journey to mamahood?
Yeah. So I had my daughter in 2021. And I was the first of my friends to have kids. So it was hard. You know, everyone was still in. We had a party house. You know, we were the first ones to really have a house. We have a backyard. We have a pool. So we were constantly hosting people and going out. I mean, I live on Long Island, but we went to the city. We lived in Brooklyn for a while. So we were out and about doing our thing and going wherever we wanted to go. And I was the first one of our friend group to become pregnant. And you know, it's a big transition to go from no kids to start having kids, especially within a friend group. People are trying to figure out a way to make you feel included, even though there's certain things you definitely can't do, and kind of finding that balance, but also like not having any support. I had friends that had kids that were older, but it's just totally different than having someone like right there in the trenches with you. And then I ended up having my son. They're 2 years and 2 months apart. So we ended up having 2 almost before most of our friends had 1. So now the big joke is my kids are going to watch everyone else's kids when the time comes. But now it's interesting because everyone's starting to like get pregnant and have kids. And it's kind of nice that it's done, to be honest. It's kind of nice to just be like, enjoying the glory of just kids running around and not having to be stuck in the trenches again and going through all the stress of that. But that was one of the reasons I honestly became a sleep consultant, is because I didn't have anybody to go through it with. It was kind of just like I wanted to be that mom friend to other people that I didn't have access to.
Sometimes our passions are birthed in the trenches. Like,
yeah.
That's one reason Devin and I started this podcast, because we were in the thick of motherhood. She had a 2-year-old during COVID. I had a pretty much newborn baby. Devin had her second son in the thick of COVID. So we were at home with kids in the trenches, on the phone all day, every day, cussing and fussing and upset because the kids were driving us crazy, which is why we brought those conversations to the microphone. So it's great to see that you were able to turn what was not necessarily trauma, but the trenches into a career and what sounds like a passion for you.
Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it.
So I do have a question. So we hear a lot of myths about sleep training. So what are some of the biggest myths that you've heard of that you can kind of debunk?
I think a lot of it is, I feel like there's like two camps of people, right? There's people that are like, absolutely no sleep training, and the other camp of people that are like, we love sleep training, it's the best thing in the world. But I think it's kind of understanding both sides and where they're coming from is kind of important. So there's this general idea of it is so hard to survive as a human with no sleep. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you scientifically, biologically cannot function without sleep. So when you're in the thick of it, sometimes you're willing to do whatever you need to do. But a lot of it comes from the idea of people putting out that, like, in order to sleep train, you have to leave your baby, you have to not care about them, you have to not respond to them crying, and you're going to lose bonds with them, and they're not going to love you as much. And that's like, there's so many studies that have completely debunked this entire theory. And one of my biggest things is, if you want to co-sleep, if you don't want to sleep train, if you want to follow biological cues, like people say, that's okay. I'm okay with that. If it works for you, it works for me. I'm here to support those mamas that doesn't work for, and they don't want to co-sleep. Because there's a lot of families that co-sleep out of survival mode, where, you know, there's those nights where all of a sudden, like, you just don't even know what else to do. Either you're going to pass out of exhaustion, or you're going to put that baby next to you. And then getting, you know, how do you make that transition is really hard. So a lot of it is like the emotional, you lose emotional connection, you lose attachment, you don't have as good as a relationship with your little one. And there's so many studies that prove that to be untrue. And then you just look at like qualitative data. Like, I have worked with so many families, and they actually have stronger bonds after they're done sleep training because everyone's in a better mood. Let's be honest, we're all kind of cranky when we're tired. So like, moms are short fused, dads are short fused, and then you're trying to raise a little one that's obviously overstimulating as it is. It's confusing, it's loud sometimes, it's messy. And when you try and do all that tired, it's so hard to literally think and process in a logical way sometimes. So I've seen so many families have such a better bond after they sleep train, and everyone's more well rested because they're able to do more. They're able to get up in the morning instead of just like going on and turning the TV on and having to go back to sleep to survive. They're able to get up and like do breakfast as a family, or go to the park early and kind of do those things that they always wanted to do. And it kind of makes motherhood and parenthood enjoyable again.
That is very true. My son he was pretty good with sleeping through the night and what have you. But recently, and my son is now 6 years old, he has found himself in our bed almost every night for the past month.
Really?
I have no clue why. Well, I asked him why. I said, why do you keep coming in mommy and daddy's room? And he said his room was too hot. So I said that was his excuse. But my son's also at the age where he's starting to really try to manipulate and all the things. So I said, okay, well, I'll turn your fan on the next night. Turn the fan on. He came in the room again. And I said, well, what's the reason this time? Because the fan was on, your room's cooler. Oh, my room is too dark. Well, you have your sonic nightlight along with your hatch baby. So you have, and his little plug-in has a light. So you have 3 light sources in your room while you're sleeping.
And you probably have none. Yeah, you probably have no light in your room.
No light.
Yeah, okay.
No light. So I just, maybe this is something that we can talk about too. Like, if it's I don't know. It's
late regression, like a regression later on.
Yeah, like, is that, I don't know what's going on.
So a lot of times there's like different stages of life. So like, for instance, newborns up until about like before 18 months, they don't even have the cognitive ability to be afraid of the dark. So a lot of people put nightlights on for their newborns because they think they're scared, but they don't even have the mental capacity to be scared of the dark. We are scared that they are scared. So what happens is, as these kind of new cognitive developments come about, new kind of fears unlock, if you call it. So all of a sudden they understand the concept of leaving. So that's generally that first regression that we really hit, is a separation anxiety, where like they understand you're going somewhere and you're no longer here. Then you have that other kind of cognitive where they understand that you were here and now you're not here, which is different than leaving. And then as they get older, they understand the concept of it being dark. They understand is the first kind of thing. And then they understand that there's things in the dark they can't see. So that's another step that you're dealing with. And it really comes down to the concept of just not being fully confident in their space. So he's a little uncomfortable in his space. He's a little, for whatever reason, it could just be like he could have heard a noise that like spooked him a little bit. And now he's just like, I don't want to be in there anymore. But rather than saying that and being like, I got scared of something, this is an interesting age, because I work up until 8 years, where they don't really want to tell you, because they don't want to seem some type of way or feel like a baby, or that they're scared of something, that they're fine, I just don't like it kind of thing. But usually that stems from them just not being fully confident in their space alone. So my first question anytime I hear this is, how does he fall asleep? Do you stay in his room until he falls asleep, or you just say goodnight and go?
We have a nightly routine where we say prayers and poem and read a book. We turn on the lullaby. He still listens to lullabies going, as he sleeps. Yeah. He has his night lights on. Doesn't take him long. Like, I'm pretty sure he's asleep now. We put him in the bed about 15, 20 minutes ago. He's already asleep. And he'll stay asleep all night until about 3, 4 in the morning. And I never know. He sneaks in. It's like he has a way of getting in the bed, and he's very sneaky with it. It's so funny because he knows my husband will put him back in the bed. I won't. I don't have time to tussle with this boy. And I like the cuddles, if I can be honest.
Yeah.
But it does disrupt sleep. And when he's in there, depending on what time he comes, our sleep is thrown completely off.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Have no clue. Maybe he did hear something and he's not able to explain what he heard or when or how. I have no clue.
Sometimes it's just kind of finding that one thing that makes a difference to them. Whether that be like a motivator, whether that be, I have something I like to do called stuffy guards, where kids take like their favorite either action figures, stuffed animals, and they put them in front of their door so they watch over their room for them while they're sleeping. So it kind of having the concept of feeling not alone, even though they're still independently sleeping. So kind of finding that like trigger point for him, and then doing something to address the trigger point without interfering with independent sleep.
That's good.
So if it's like we first hear it's dark, so you talk about adding in a light. You talk about it's too quiet. What are we doing with the sound in there? We talk about I'm scared of the dark, or I heard something. We set up these stuffy guards to show, like, watch the room for them. There's also something that I do called like a door heart, where they kind of decorate something like a little poster that you hang on their door as the parent after they fall asleep, so they feel like you checked on them, so they know they weren't by themselves all night. So there's little things that make a huge difference when you're dealing with over the age of usually 3. So our toddlers plus, it's kind of like figuring out what their trigger points are and addressing them without allowing them to, you don't want to take away their independence or like because we know that they can. He did at some point, right? You know what I mean? So being able to like productively struggle, it's a very teacher term, like productively struggle in a way, to be able to kind of work through it. Same thing with riding a bike, where like they're going to fall down and that's okay. And how are we addressing, did you go too fast? Did you not learn how to brake yet? So then figuring out what that issue was and then slowly addressing it so they can still sleep independently.
I'm going to try that action figure thing.
He will love that. He will.
It's on my Instagram under the bedtime highlights. I'll send it to you. It's great. So there's tricks with it too, where like for your parents, you're welcome, everybody listening. I have the kids set them up, and then in the morning they have to put them to bed this way because they were up all night watching the room. So you have to collect them all and you have to put them to bed so they can rest. This way they can watch your room all night tonight. This way, your floors are not covered in action figures. You're welcome, mamas.
Love that, Michelle.
So that is content, Kendra. So I need you to make a reel of that.
Devin's our
Collaborate
Absolutely.
Collaborate with Michelle. Okay. So I love that though. I love that.
I do.
So, my boys, they actually sleep with stuffies, and I think that helps them. Like at night, Drew was like, "Where's my stuffy?" And it was so funny that you said this because last night, Jared, or the night before, whenever, it was sometime this week, Jared's like, "You're kind of too big for stuffies. Like, it's time to get rid of this." He was like, "No, I need my stuffy."
Yeah, no thank you.
He's not too big for stuffies.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. They don't come
Exactly.
in my room. The only time they come in my room, if there's an accident, they come to my side though. "Hey mom, I used the bathroom. Can you help me?" Or if they're not feeling well. But any other time, knock on wood, as I put in my work, they stay in a room. And so my situation is drastically different. So my oldest, he's the one who didn't sleep. My youngest, he got it right away. Now, COVID, I was solo parenting for 6 months. So I was in survival mode and we co-slept. But my husband got home and was like, "Absolutely not. We're going to sleep train.
Get out of my bed."
And it's really me. It's not them. It's me. I hear the crying and then I'm crying and I'm just like, "Everybody come on. We have a king size bed. Everybody come on." So it's really me that's the problem. And my oldest knew that. So he tugged on that, and then it got to the point where we couldn't break any of the habits because he was just stuck in his ways. And then eventually he saw his brother like sleeping through the night and getting praise and all of that, and then something changed, and
Drew's like, he's not getting all the praise and I'm not.
Yep.
yeah.
Well, that's the big thing with toddlers is you have to set up that like motivation. You want, and I always explain this to parents, you want their room to be the coolest place in the entire world.
Yeah.
So anytime there's any progress whatsoever, you want to make like a parade out of it. You want to tap into anyone in your village being like, "Mom, can you call them? Teachers, can you please mention that so-and-so stayed in their bed overnight?" Tap into cousins, friends, your friends, anybody, aunts, uncles, anyone that's part of your village, have them call and tap in. "Oh my goodness, I heard you stayed in your bed last night. I am so proud of you," because now being in their bed is so cool because everyone now thinks you're cool.
Yeah.
Noted.
So again, you've created a safe space for them because everyone else knows it's safe and they think it's the coolest place in the world. So now I'm going to stay here.
Yeah. Ken, have you changed his room yet to the Grinch? Did you do his Grinch room yet?
I did. He has his Grinch sheets. He has his Grinch countdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with the kid. I have no clue.
And he just started a new school. It's a lot to think about.
Friend, we are how many months
We can
into
fix
the
this,
school
though.
year?
We can fix this. Is fixable.
He's like, "We can fix this."
Girl, you got my number. Just call me. I got you. Give me 2 weeks, not even.
School age kids. What about newborns and infants? What are some techniques parents can use for sleep training for their infants?
So we treat newborns very differently than what we call our infant category. So
Okay.
infant category, I like to classify between 4 months and 18 months. But if they're 2 and still in a crib, so it's really kind of like 4 months too if you're in a crib, a lot of the time. And then our newborns are anything before our 4-month mark. And we treat them differently. So our newborns, we don't formally sleep train. I like to consider it like sleep shaping. So we work on building foundations, paying attention to wake windows so you don't have an overtired baby, offering full feeds instead of snacking feeds. Because we have a lot of newborn parents, especially new parents, they don't know what to do when their baby's crying. So they're like, they must be hungry. So you feed them. And then in an hour, they're crying and you don't know what to do, so they must be hungry, so you feed them. And they're constantly taking these really small volumes, whether you're breastfeeding or formula feeding. We're talking about like 2 or 3 minute nurse sessions or 1 ounce bottles, and they're just kind of stacking on top of each other. So that continues into the night. So then you start having your newborn waking up often through the night because they never really became full when they're feeding. So there's not enough daytime calories in. So we really focus on paying attention to wake windows as newborns, focusing on offering feeds after our naps rather than before our naps, so we're not feeding to sleep. And we also work on practicing independent sleep when they tolerate it. So if we see that our little one is fine when we put them down flat, we like to work with that. We don't have to constantly put them to sleep in our arms. If they're okay being put down, cool, let's work with it. If they're really, really struggling, it's okay to support them because we're not sleep draining. Mm-hmm. Then into our next stage, we talked about our 4-month-olds to like our 18 to 24 months. For them, it's really important. Your daytime schedule is so important. And again, there's like 2 camps of people here. We're like team wake window and team clock schedule. I am 100% team clock schedule. So after 4 months, I switch all of my clients onto a set schedule. This way, anybody watching that child, whether that be daycare, aunts or uncles, grandparents, dad, mom, the child's getting the same nap time every single day. And what that allows it to do is they allow them to get used to it, and their body gets used to it. So they know, okay, this time is nap time because I always go to sleep at this time. Similar to adults. If you go to sleep every single night at 9 o'clock, and then you try and go out with your friends and think you're cool and stay out until 11, you feel like you're dying. It's the same thing.
True story.
True story.
May or may not have done it. So and the same thing with wake ups, we try and start anchoring those wake ups. So with the wake window crew, I try and explain it. If you have a 30-minute nap and you wait 2 hours, that's a very different sleep pressure than if you had a 2-hour nap and waited 2 hours. It's just not the same. You're just not going to have the same sleep pressure on it. So I try to evenly space consistent sleep throughout the day with nice full feeds so we get better chances of having good overnight sleep.
Michelle, I'm curious.
Yeah.
How we've had some conversation before, and you were previously in the classroom. This question just came to mind, FYI. And you are very knowledgeable, at least in this conversation, when it comes to sleeping and supporting kids of all ages. How did you get into this line of work? I am very curious.
So I'm a high school science teacher by like trade, I guess you could call it. So the science behind it is always very interesting to me. But when I became pregnant with my first, I knew I was going to either love parenthood or hate it because of sleep. Mm-hmm. My husband, the fire alarm literally went off in our room and he slept through it. Like he's dead to the, I was like, hello. Like, he's like, what is that noise? I was like, the fire alarm. That's what it is. It's like the battery was dead. It wasn't really a fire, but thank God because you didn't get up anyway. But like, I know that. I know him. I know that going into it. We've been together for 10 years at this point. So I knew what I was working with. Let's say that. So I made it like my mission to be able to, because everyone's like, oh, congratulations. You're never going to sleep again. Like,
oh, that's the worst.
It's like, okay, like I wasn't already scared to be like a first-time parent and the first in my friend group. And at heart, I mean, I was 30, but I felt really young to have. I'm like, who let me have a kid? Like, who just did this? And then on top of that, people are like, oh, well, you'll sleep when they're 18. Oh, you might sleep when they're 18 because then you're going to worry about it. And you're just like, okay. So it kind of made it like my mission. So I started following like a few sleep consultants on Instagram. And I was talking to a couple of them casually and following the stuff that they were putting out there. And it was going really well. And I was like, ooh, I think I got this. Like, I'm feeling pretty confident. I feel like I know a little bit what I'm talking about now. And then there was a cousin. It was one of my friend's cousins that had a baby. And they were really in the trenches, really struggling. And I was like, I was there. This is what I did to kind of get out of it. And then they were doing much better. And then it was a friend finally had a baby, and I was like, oh, girl, I got you. Like, this is what I did. Let's see how it works. And it was my husband. He was like, you should do this full time. Like, you should go and get certified for this because you love it, and you're good at it, and you understand what it's like to not have that support. And I was like, I am 6 months pregnant with our second, and you think it's a grand old time to start a brand new business? No. Like, are you kidding me? Absolutely not.
You can start the business plan, but
I was like, are you crazy? I knew nothing about business. I'm a science teacher. I didn't even know what LLC stood for. Like, are you kidding me? Like, no, I'm not going to start a business. I didn't want to be on social media. I'm not that, like, no, thank you. He was like, I think you should do it. And he was like, I'll look at one of the consultants that I followed was very open about where she got certified from. Mm-hmm. So I had talked to her about it, and she's like, I got an affiliate code. You should totally do it. I think you'd be great at it. And I was like, you guys are all crazy. And then I don't know what it was, but finally I was like, all right, like, you know what it was? I was really scared about daycare cost. That's honestly what it was. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I was like, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, if I do this, and like, I was like, if I do this and then at least we have a little bit more money coming in, like, I think I'd feel better about it. I was like, I love this. And then we'd make a little bit more, so we'd have a little bit more breathing room. Like, all right, we'll give it a try. And I ended up finishing my certification like 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
And launched like the back end business right before my son was born. We did the website, everything like that. And then I took like 2 months off to kind of like put my feet on the floor, but also still did a little bit of content with the newborn. Looking back on it, I wish I did a lot more content, but I never have like, I personally don't share like my kids' faces on my Instagram, but you'll see like the back of their cute little heads and stuff like that. So, and then after that, I kind of like finally was like, okay, I feel like I could breathe, like, because 2 feels like 10. I don't know who in society wanted to gatekeep that, because 2 kids feels like 10 kids, and no one says it. Everyone's like, oh, 2's not a lot. 2 is a lot. I'll tell you, 2 is a lot. I tell everybody, like, it's okay if it feels like you're dying, because I get it. And then I kind of was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So I started putting some more work in it. And I did it part-time for like a year and a half. And then as of September, I've been doing it full-time.
Awesome. Well, hats off to your husband for encouraging you and seeing you and the work that you are doing to support family, friends, and now you've made a business out of it. So hats off to your husband.
Yeah.
And so for your business, can you help people virtually, or do they have to live in the same city or state as you?
That's a great question. So almost all of my clients are virtual. I do offer in-home for like my local clients. A lot of like newborns I've done in-home services for, because when we talk about like what does it look like to even put down a newborn, like how do you get them to sleep? What does that process look like? It's difficult for a lot of people. So I've done a lot of in-homes around like newborn supports, but the majority of my work is virtual. Like I've worked with people in California and all like tons of different states. Because my thing, so people are like, oh, well, can't you come and do it for me? And I don't offer it, period. And the reason is my daughter was very sensitive with new people, like most little ones are. They don't know me. I'm a stranger. So to leave a baby, no matter the age, with a stranger is really what it is. It's uncomfortable for them. So that's not going to go well as it is. And then let's just say we get there, because of course we could get there. Let's say we get there, it all goes well, and I leave. That doesn't mean that that child's going to do it for their parents. We hear this, I don't know about you guys, but all the time we hear it. My kid naps in daycare and will not nap at home. Because they're 2 different settings, they're 2 different people. So I personally don't even offer, like, I don't offer overnights, and I don't offer, like, doing it for them. I always say I'm a parent coach. Like, I'm here for you, and then you're here to support your child.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, logically, the parents are the ones who are home with their kids, you know, and you're going to at some point leave. So you'd rather that child get used to their actual parent or the person who's consistently in the home. They're there to support and train and do whatever is needed to help that baby get a good night's rest. So,
but I am very like hands-on with it. Like I use a platform that allows like really easy voice notes. So I have parents like, because when you're trying to get a little one to sleep, like you don't have hands to be like, let me text out this really well spoken. Like I'm just like, girl, send me a voice note. Like whatever you gotta do to talk it out. So they send me videos of the monitor. They send me pictures, voice notes, and everything. And it's kind of like a play-by-play. So, like, this is what they're doing. Like, do I need to go in? Do I not go in? Like, my toddler just asks for water 4 times, and I don't know what to do. And I give them exactly what to say, exactly what to do. So it's kind of like having, like, that earpiece in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I got it.
It's like you got the secret. You're the secret agent.
Yep.
Speaking of, like, tips and resources and tricks that you may offer, what are 5, I guess, tips you could share to help a parent ensure their kid has a good night's rest?
So biggest thing is follow an age-appropriate daytime schedule. That would be 1. Offer full feeds no matter what that age is to ensure that we have enough calories during the day. Have a plan. is a big one. So how are we addressing things? How are we doing it? Make sure your plan is communicated with your significant other so that you guys are both communicating and being consistent.
That's a good one.
And the fifth one would be to then stay consistent. That's one of the hardest ones, is stay consistent. So if you communicated to your partner what the plan is and you both have the plan, but neither one of you do the plan, it doesn't really help.
Yeah, I know my kid tries sometimes. Well, he's starting to try to play us where if mommy says no, then and daddy's in the other room, he'll go ask daddy. And daddy has now picked up what mommy or what son is doing, and he'll say, well, what did mommy say? And so it's like, your trick's not working anymore, son. Yep. So that is a really good tip, because these kids
it creates a lot of parental preference too, especially in the younger years. We see parental preference happen a lot. Naturally, a lot of the time it starts from, like, if you're kind of the primary caregiver, a lot of just biologically the breastfeeding, if you're breastfeeding mama, like, your scent is really out there. They're very connected to that scent. So there is always kind of a parental preference from the jump or the start of it. So being able to be consistent kind of limits that. So if you have dad doing 8 bedtime stories and mom's only doing 2, well, now I want dad to stay here because I'm able to stay up later with him. And then it again creates kind of that break in your team. And you don't ever want to break in your team, whether that be, for anything dealing with your kids or work or whatever. But bedtime is very easy to crack a partnership. Very easy.
Yeah. That is so true. So I have a question about nap time. So how do you feel about naps? Because for me, I was a stickler for naps. If my kids did not nap, they did not sleep well at night. So I felt like it was a correlation. And I know some people are like, oh, we don't really nap because I want them to sleep through the night, or I want them to sleep better. What is your perspective on that?
I always do this when I hear that. I'm like, no. I see it on Facebook all the time. They're just like, oh, my 1-year-old's like really fighting sleep. They're like, drop the nap. And I'm like, no, don't do it.
No.
I still try to take a nap now.
Right.
At 5 and 7.
So usually we say we keep the nap as close to 4 as possible. Throughout the different regressions, this is where everyone gets stuck. 2-year sleep regression is a beast, like a beast for majority of kids, not all. And it'll feel like whiplash and like a light switch change. Like you had the best sleeper in the entire world, and then the next day you feel like someone stole your child and replaced them with somebody else, because it's literally can be that big of a change and that quick. So our 2-year sleep regression, we tend to see a lot of fighting the naps, because now they have the cognitive ability to like determine power and struggle and getting what they want versus understanding they're not getting what they want. And I don't like, the best word I have for it is like manipulation really starts at this age, and not that they're doing it with the intention to be bad or cruel or anything, but like manipulation really starts at this head too, like real strong too. So we see our 2-year-olds really fighting the nap. So everyone's like, just drop the nap at 2. And I'm like, no, don't do it, please. You just keep going. Once we start seeing overnight sleep affected, which is usually closer to 4, that's when we usually start dropping it. We will cut down on the hours. So I usually like to say between a new 2, I like to call them like just turned 2, between 2 and 2.5. 2 hours is totally appropriate, even 3 for a lot of 2s. 2.5 to 3, we usually cut back a little bit closer to like 1.5 hour nap. And 3 is where we usually start cutting down to an hour, and then eventually we cut down to 45 minutes. And then I usually don't do like a half hour, just because of your sleep cycles. By the time you hit that half hour mark, you're trying to wake them up out of a dead, like the deepest of sleep. And it's just not good for anybody involved in waking up that little one.
I need a nap. So
I know.
As an adult. A 2 to 3.
That's why I'm always just like, kid, if you knew how lucky you are to go in your room and nap.
Right. It's so funny because my 2 things my youngest love is food and sleep. So he'll tell you straight up, I need a nap. And he would go and get in his bed and take a nap. My oldest, absolutely not. He's the one who fights everything. But I'm glad you spoke to that, because I used to be like, you sure? I think the way they're acting right now, I think they could benefit from a nap.
And there's like a scientific reason that this works, and that why like I always say like baby math just doesn't math. So
Yeah.
people are saying like, oh, my little one's waking up at 5 a.m. and that we consider that an early morning wake up. I always say, what time is bedtime? And it's usually like 9 or 10. And that's usually your first problem. So lack of sleep causes less sleep. And the reason for that is because when a little one's overtired, they have higher level of cortisol, which is your stress hormone in your body. And people like to fight me on this. They're just like, well, they fell asleep in 2 seconds, so that's not true. That's definitely true. Their batteries literally died. They have no more gas in the tank, and they shut off is what they did.
Yeah.
But the problem is that cortisol is still running through their system. So you start seeing more wake-ups through the night, and that early morning wake-up is happening, that 5 a.m. wake-up. Anytime people say, like, I have a low sleep needs baby, I usually find that you have a poor schedule and that your little one's nervous system is fried. And that's why that's happening. So they're napping. I have one of my very best friends was like, oh, I have a low sleep needs baby. I was like, sure. And I worked with her, and this little one went from like napping like 45 minutes tops to like taking these 2-hour naps. And I was just like, hey.
I know a little something.
Great.
Yeah.
Just want to say hi over here.
True. That's definitely true, because sometimes we'll have like late nights. Let's just say Halloween, for example. Everyone's out late or whatever. Kids are overstimulated. They go to bed at 11 o'clock. And then they woke up at 5 o'clock. It was just like, I thought you were going to sleep at least until 8, but they were up and at it. Yeah. So
ready to go.
Yeah. So, okay. And to go back just a little bit, you talked about sleep regressions. And so can you tell us like the age ranges for sleep regressions for those who may not know or may be approaching the sleep regression like time period for their kid?
The entire first year, basically.
Yeah.
So we talk about, that's why I hate listing them, because everyone's like, so the whole first year. And I'm like, So it's 4 months, 6 months, which certain people argue with, but I'm a true believer at 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. 18 is the first beast generally of a sleep regression. So 4 months is a beast. 18 months can be a beast because they have that cognitive development to understand you leaving and waking up differently than when they went to sleep. So if you're rocking to sleep all the time, that works until it doesn't. And that's because they recognize that they're waking up in a different environment than they're falling asleep. So 18 months, 24 months, beast. Then 2.5, 3, 3.5, and some may argue 4.
Okay. No, I agree with that, because my son hit every sleep regression.
You're like, check.
Yep. It is what it is.
Michelle, so we were talking about the naps. You mentioned how social media, you're on social media and people are saying all the things, and someone said maybe the kid needs to stop napping to sleep, whatever they said. Social media is one of the biggest tales, right? You have people on there that are having their experiences and they share it with the world as if it is gospel, like this is what it is. And melatonin has been one of those things that has been all, is throughout social media when it comes to getting your kids to sleep and I don't know. I've never personally intentionally given my kid melatonin. There is medication, like cold medication, that has melatonin in it and it knocks them out, but there are people that really swear by giving their kids melatonin. But given your expertise, your understanding, your training, what are your thoughts on melatonin to help with sleep?
So again, to preface, I'm not a doctor, so I don't have any medical degrees in this. I've done a decent amount of studying on it. So, does it work? Yeah. You're going to give it to your kid, they're going to fall asleep? Yeah, they will. So that's why a lot of people swear by it, because at night, as adults, we just went through an entire day. We went there, whether we're working or staying at home, both of those are extremely difficult, extremely tasking. Your bandwidth of brain capacity that you have to balance every detail in your mind is done by then. Generally, what we do see, though, if your child doesn't sleep without melatonin, they probably aren't sleeping through the night when you give it to them. Is it helping them initially fall asleep? Yeah, probably, sure. It literally will knock them out. Versus them having the ability to fall back asleep on their own even. So if they don't even have those skills or don't feel confident in their room, then the likelihood of them staying asleep is slim to none. Yes, there will be somebody that pops up in these comments and just like, well, my kid can't sleep without it, and I know, and they sleep all night with it. Yeah, there's going to be those camps of people, of course. They do become extremely dependent on it, and you usually have to, they become tolerant to it a lot, where you have to start increasing the dosage that you're giving them. Magnesium has been the other kind of sleep aid, I guess you can call it, more of a more natural basis. I have seen studies that say there's a lot of good benefits from it. It's not sedative as much as it does like calm the body, calm the mind. But again, if your child doesn't have independent sleep skills, that's not going to work for them either. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that can become almost, I don't want to use the word like addicting, but where they can't function without it. Like
their body depends on it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
There are times where like people use it and it's very helpful. So like getting kids back on schedule when they're jet lagged or something like that. They're in different time zones. Extremely overtired cycles for toddlers where like no matter what you do, you can't get them to sleep more and they're extremely overtired. Like a once in a while kind of thing to reset their schedule. I've seen it used and worked properly in those scenarios. Vacation, that first night of vacation, I've seen people use it. So like, it's not that I feel like it should never be used ever, but it shouldn't be used for a regular support because it's not really supportive.
Yeah. So I had my run-in with melatonin. Kendra knows this story. So I was desperate. That's COVID.
Yeah.
I was solo, 2-year-old, not sleeping. And so somebody was like, give him melatonin. So I was like, okay. Did not work for him. He woke up scaling the walls and I could not like wake him up. It was the most scariest thing ever and I felt so bad because I'm like, what the hell did I do to my son? Like, I'd much rather be up with you not sleeping than seeing you go through this. So I think it also depends on the child too, but like I said, I was desperate. So no shade to anybody who used it, like do what works for you, but I'm just sharing my experience. Speaking of night terrors, do you have any insight on that? Because my kid who is now sleeping, that didn't sleep, also experienced really bad night terrors outside of the melatonin episode. But I knew it was the melatonin because he's never like tried to climb the walls before. But he used to have, they're not as bad anymore. But is there any link to why they happen? And then also he would sleepwalk. So is there any correlation with that too? Like it was one point we used to have to put up like I was like, should I get a sleep study done? So we had to put up like a gate because we found him downstairs in the refrigerator just walking in circles. And it's just like, and The Exorcist is happening.
Yeah. So a lot of that, the number one cause of kind of night terrors and night walking in general is overtiredness. There's other things, I'm not sure the entire specifics, but I do know there is some link to like certain vitamin deficiencies are more likely to have this. But a lot of it, number one cause is usually overtired.
That tracks.
Yep. But night terrors are scary, and there's a difference between night terrors and nightmares. Nightmares, the child kind of comes to right away and said, I'm aware of what just happened. A night terror is like they're awake, but still in that kind of like cognitive nightmare view where they don't even notice you're there. Mm-hmm. You don't exist.
Yep.
And then it just stops and they fall back asleep and they wake up in the morning and have no recollection of what happened. Meanwhile, you're traumatized as a parent. Your kid was screaming their brains out, was crying hysterical. You could not comfort them. There was nothing that could make it better. And then all of a sudden it stopped.
Yeah.
And then they woke up like nothing happened and you were up for the rest of the night having a panic attack.
So is it true you don't wake them, you just allow them to kind of go through it and lay them back down and guide them? Don't wake them up. Okay.
You got to guide, you kind of got to write it out. Because generally they say that if you wake them up out of it, it's like significantly worse.
Wow. Thank you for breaking down the difference between clearly they're two different terms, so I would think there's a difference, but I didn't know that it was like a night terror is like leave them be. They will come out of it on their own. It's worse for you to try to wake them out of it. I figured a nightmare is like, oh, I had a bad dream and now I'm awake and I know that it was just a dream. Like, I'm fine now. But it seems like the night terror, like the kid is still like in whatever's going on. Like, they're in the thick of it and they are terrified. My son is, I don't recall him having, I don't think he's ever had a night terror, but he's had bad dreams and he's like, Mommy, I had a bad dream. I'm like, okay, well, that happens, you know, as a kid. I used to have a lot of bad dreams, but
yeah, of course.
Thank you for breaking down that difference, Michelle. So as we kind of close things out, thank you for this conversation, because this has kind of, I guess, answered some questions for where things are now with our kids and sleeping, but also confirmed some things that we experienced when our kids were younger. But if there is a parent or a guardian, whomever is listening to this conversation and they need some words of encouragement, is there anything that you would offer them in support of allowing and supporting their kids to have better sleep?
So my biggest thing, and I feel like one of the biggest myths that we talk about sleep training, is not all sleep training is cry it out. I personally never have, in my 2.5 years of practicing, have used cry it out, period. Like, cry it out in an entirety. There's so many responsive and gentle ways to go about it that's just as effective, if not even more effective. So I like to say, I like to build confidence, not compliance. So we want our little ones to want to be there, not feel like they have to be there.
I love that. I love
it's a teacher in me.
Because kids are rebels. They don't want to comply. They want to be confident in whatever.
And you're in a battle.
Exactly.
It's the bedtime battles. You're in a battle. Because you have to, you're here because I told you have to stay here. Like, you have to go to bed because I told you to have to go to bed, rather than I'm going to be in my room because I want to be in my room because my room's the coolest place ever.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do cry it out. I don't even use Ferber. So what Ferber is you're letting them cry for different lengths of intervals. The most independent approach I use is a set time. It's under 5 minutes that I allow the child to kind of work it out independently, and then we go in and we support them. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about sleep training, and if you're in the thick of it, you can just ask the questions. Like, no one's forcing you to sleep train your child. But I always say, like, think about kind of the importance of sleep. So why do we need sleep? Cognitive development, so brain development, hitting those milestones. So body development as well. We talk about immunity coming into sick season. Like, the less sleep you have, the more likely you are to get sick, because your body is not able to fight off these kind of viruses and bacteria that you're coming in contact with. So we want all those things for our child. So it's not always about, and they're kind of the conception of like, crying doesn't necessarily mean they're not safe or they're not okay. So I always tell my parents, if your kid starts crying and they're in their car seat, are you going to let them ride up front with you because they're crying? Probably not, because we know that that's not the best option for them. So we're going to kind of support them. We're going to talk them through it, and we're going to kind of keep going into our car seat, because that we know is the best thing that we can do for our child. So getting sleep is one of the best things we can do for our children. So the way we go about that can look totally different, of course. But there's so many different options, and I offer all my families 2 different methods of sleep training in their regular sleep plans. So one's a little bit more parent forward or a more gentle approach, and the other one is a little bit more independent. But again, I never use a full cry it out. I never use Ferber, although many people have used Ferber. It has been effective. I personally don't like it. And I don't feel comfortable, so I wouldn't tell somebody else to do something I don't feel comfortable with.
You said Ferber. What is Ferber?
Ferber, it's like the idea of you leave your baby for like 2 minutes, and then you leave them for 5 minutes, and then you leave them for 10 minutes, and then you leave them for 20 minutes. But you're responding on like a clock versus like their need. So I always say we want to respond when our baby needs us, not necessarily when they want us. Because they always want us, like we're cool, we're moms. So that one doesn't really factor that in. And then you're extending the time in which And then again, that builds more compliance in my eyes than confidence. So I want them to know we're here to support you. It's okay. We did not go anywhere, but it's time for bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Michelle, thank you. I'm sure you've helped a lot of listeners. Again, you've talked through some things that our kids are experiencing now, but also confirmed some things that we experienced when they were younger. So we appreciate the conversation.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. So, Michelle, is there anything you want to plug right now if people want to find you? If they have any questions, if you have anything that you're working on right now, you can plug whatever.
Yes. So I just recently started a TikTok, so now I'm about that life too.
Oh, we gotta find you on there.
Yeah.
We're on TikTok.
I'm not doing
but
TikTok.
like
I'm not doing TikTok. And now I'm on TikTok and I'm just like, I love TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like almost a little bit easier to like, there's so many, I feel like people want to be friends with people on TikTok
Yeah.
and like want to
Yeah.
reach each other. And
Yeah.
Instagram is very like, who's going to be better than the next person? I feel
Yeah.
like personal experience. But so my TikTok and Instagram are Sleepyhead Souls, SOLS at the end for Sleepyhead Solutions, short for Sleepyhead Solutions. My email is the same, sleepyheadsouls@gmail.com. I have a new package that I'm rolling out. I'm super, super excited for this one. I'm actually rolling out a newborn retainer in the next week or so. And that's going to be offered to our clients under 4 months. And it's going to be a full month of support. So being able to have someone to ask every like, is this normal question to, and have access to them. That first month is difficult because their needs are changing very quickly. So what worked for week 1 might not work in week 2. So being able to have someone in your pocket the entire first month or close to those first few months, I think would be really helpful. So I'm really excited for that. So I am just about rolling out my newborn retainer. I love my newborns. And then I also have our infant package still going, our toddler package. So there's a lot of good things going on. So there's support for all ages. Again, I never use Cry It Out. I never use Ferber. I pick and go on whatever speed that the parents are comfortable with, because again, if you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to be consistent with it. And if you're not going to be consistent with it, it's not going to work. And that doesn't look good for either of us. Like I'm not in this to just make money, because there's a lot of things that wouldn't work if you're in this kind of business like that. I want our parents to be able to enjoy parenthood again and their little ones to sleep better and have that kind of good experience, because it's literally like life-changing, like we talked about. And that's one of the best things about being a sleep consultant is like it literally doesn't just change the baby's life, it changed the life of the entire family.
Yes, indeed. Because I'm one of those people, I need my sleep. And even when I had my newborn baby, my husband, completely honest, he got up with the baby a lot more than I did. I got up to feed, but I'm one of those people, I need my sleep. And that's that.
See, I can function if I'm up. I don't hear anything. So I'm like your husband. Like once I'm asleep, I'm dead to the world. I don't mean any harm by it. And it's so funny because at our baby shower for my oldest, people are like, who is more likely to get up with the baby? And I was like, my husband, because
I'm not going to hear him.
I'm not going to hear him. And it was like, oh, your motherly instincts were kicking, and they did not.
No.
There is actually, interesting enough, after you have a baby, you do have different hormones in your body that make you purposely a light sleeper.
Yeah.
So that is kind of like, not that I want to save the husbands here, because I've been on the other side of it, but giving them a little bit of slack. There are hormones that actually make women sleep lighter in order to respond to a child faster.
Yeah,
like
I don't
biologically, which I think is really cool.
But
no, there's certain people that not everyone follows the rules.
Yeah. What's crazy though, if I'm solo, I hear everything. I'm a light sleeper. Like if he's not here, like it's the craziest thing. But if he's here, I'm like what?
That's like even with my newborn clients, I always tell them, like, if you're going to take a nap, pass the monitor off to your partner, because you will sleep totally different if a monitor is next to your face versus if it's away from you, because you're instinctively trying to listen for it to make sure everything's okay. So I always tell like my newborn clients, I'm like, when you get a nap in, pass that monitor off. That's the first thing I tell them.
That's a good thing. So all that sleepy talk, friend, what are we drinking from Mama's Juice? I'm drinking water. I'm be clear.
I am drinking some red wine. I know you all can see it. So if this is your first time listening, Mama Juice is my segment of the show. If you know me, you know I love a good cocktail. And it had to be incorporated in the Real Mama Pod. So we always have a cocktail or beverage of some sort that fits the theme of the conversation. So today I brought red wine to the conversation. And I've named her Sleepyhead because for some reason, depending on the type of wine I drink, which is not often, I'm not really a wine drinker, it makes me sleepy. It's not one of those, I'm not a wine girl. So when I drink it, unless it's a particular wine, like a white wine that I like from Trader Joe's, it puts me to sleep. So I am drinking my Sleepyhead Red.
Yeah, there you go, girl.
And I'm sure I'll be asleep shortly after this conversation.
For sure.
Yeah. So shout out to Michelle and Sleepyhead.
Yes, love that.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yes, of course. So if this is your first time listening, the next segment is Mama's Corner. So that is my favorite segment, and that is our opportunity to connect with our guests further or our listeners if they write us. You guys haven't written us in a long time. Okay, so go ahead.
To be fair, friend, we've been on break.
We've been missing, so y'all can write us back now. Okay, we're back like we never left. And so if you ever have a question, you can email us at mama@therealmamapod.com, and we will answer it on our podcast. We try to tailor the questions to like a guest we may have. So if you had a question about sleep training, you could have wrote that, and we have an expert here to answer. But since we don't, we're going to be a little bit more reflective. And so I do have an additional question for you, Michelle. So to that mama who is struggling, like, her baby is not sleeping. She feels like she's tried everything. Let's just say Devin in 2018.
Not naming names.
Right, not naming names. But what is some advice you can give her? What is something you can tell her to give her hope?
I think the biggest thing is, like, once you say you've tried everything and you're still struggling, ask for help. That's why we have people, and sleep is tricky. Like, I didn't just wake up and call myself a sleep consultant. Like, I had to study it. There's a lot that goes into it. So a lot of it is not lack of access of information. Like we were talking about social media, they will tell you 9,000 things to try, but that doesn't mean any of those things are right for your baby. So when you're really, really struggling and you said you've tried all the things, it might not have just been the right thing for your little one. So asking for help, there's nothing. If you have bronchitis, you go to a doctor because you're struggling with that. Like, there's no problem or no shame in asking for help with this. Because again, sleep is important part of development. It's an important part of your baby's growth and immunity, like we talked about. So asking for help is totally okay. And honestly, I always have so many clients and I always feel bad but love it at the same time. They're just like, I wish I reached out sooner, because it's like, we can fix this. And I literally, my toddler program is 3 weeks, but my my infant package, which is really like the big struggling ages of like that 4 to like 24 months, I have little ones sleeping through the night in 2 weeks or less.
Wow.
It's literally can be fixed that quick. So I'm always like, when people are like, oh, I've been trying stuff for months and nothing's worked. And I'm just like, try me. I'll fix it in 2 weeks. Like, come this way.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you said that, because there is stigma around your baby not sleeping through the night. Like, I felt embarrassed. People are like, he's still not sleeping? No. Like, leave me alone.
Well, that's everyone's first question. Like, oh, you have a baby? How's he sleeping? Like,
yeah. I'm like, why?
This is a good question. Why are you worried about how my child is sleeping?
Right. Yeah. I don't know why that is a question, but it is. Can we stop asking that? Just like we stop asking women like when they're gonna have babies. Stop asking them when they do have the baby, is their baby sleeping? Because that just makes you feel like more like something is wrong with your child. Because I definitely felt that, and people made the comments, "Oh, he should be sleeping. Like, what's wrong?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Okay. Clearly something's wrong, but I don't know. But so not having that stigma, I think it's helpful.
And I think people think of sleep consultants as like these really like rich people hire these professionals to do it. And it's not. I work with everyday people. I work with nurses and firefighters' kids and teachers' kids. It's like it's not kind of only for like the elite to be able to sleep well, and like it is attainable for people. And I think that's the thing, is like it's totally possible, and there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your baby. It's just figuring out what's gonna click in order to get them to sleep through the night. Same thing when they're riding a bike. If they can't ride a bike, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. It means that they didn't figure out that balance point of where's center. So they find it and then they're good. So it's just having the ability to have someone kind of support you through that and look at the data. I don't even create a sleep plan without looking at 3 days worth of logs. So I look for all the sleeps and all the feeds for 3 consecutive days, because there's a lot of information in there that actually helps create the plan. So you're not just throwing 9,000 things at a wall and seeing what fixes. It's designed with the data in mind, saying, okay, we see he's waking up at 5 a.m. every day. He's overtired. Let's look at their bedtime. Or they're waking up at 3 every single night, no matter what, and are up for an hour. Well, when was their last nap before that? Because that's probably just a habit wake up, and all we have to do is kind of reset their schedule in order to get out of it. So unless you kind of are looking at the entire picture, you can try 900 things and none of them work. And I can try one of your 900 things and get it to work by just simply putting it in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. That's so good. Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Yes.
Because I couldn't do that, what you're doing. So, and you love it. So
I love it so much.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for your time. And thank you for pouring into the pod.
Yes. Thank you guys
you,
for
Michelle.
having me.
Yes, we'll have to have you back. I have to give you updates on how my little Eli is. I'm pretty sure he'll be in our bed around 3 or 4 o'clock. So
I'm totally serious. Like, we could fix this. Girl, I got you.
Okay. I appreciate that, Michelle. Well, until next time, mamas and listeners. Bye.
Sleep tight.